Okay, and let me share my screen. Okay, so hello everyone. This is our third day. So still I would like to welcome you all to our math adventures. And our today's topic will be polynomials. Please mute yourself when you are entering the Zoom. Okay, and this is our day one for polynomials. For tomorrow, we still got polynomials, but we got something differently. But anyway, let's start first day about polynomials, day one. And for some of you who don't know me, I know that you may be a little bit tired about this page here, but anyway, that's me. So my name is William, and I don't think that I need to introduce myself, right? Okay, so let's get to our questions today directly. So about our concept today, polynomials. Let me first introduce three major factors of polynomials. The first one, you can see here as something like x, which is indeterminates. It is called indeterminates because we don't know the exact value of x here, right? And on the left, we can see we only got x here. There is no y, no z, no a, b, c, right? So we only got one indeterminate here. But if I write it this way, like x, let's say probably x squared, right? And plus y squared. So for here, we got x and y, we don't know the value. Then we got at least two indeterminates. So that is indeterminates. The second thing is coefficients. Coefficients is very easy to understand. So for example, this number here or this number here, right? These are coefficients because these kind of numbers indicates how many indeterminates exactly here. So that is coefficients. The last one is the powers. If you remember the powers, the concept of the powers from the first day. So we can see here, actually, we got how many powers? We got x to the power of 3, right? So this is to the power of 3. And we got this stuff here, which is x to the power of 2. And also we get x to the power of 1 here, right? Those are powers. So these are three major factors for our polynomials. Okay, let me move it down to our major task today, which is to trying to simplify polynomials. Why we need to simplify polynomials? This is because a polynomial is in standard form if it is simplified. Okay, so if we want to get a standard form, we need to simplify it. So let's see the following. Question number 1. The first thing we need to consider is indeterminates, right? So let's figure out how many indeterminates here. We got x, 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 x. Those are all x, right? So we only got one indeterminates. Let me write it down here. One indeterminates. Okay. And the second thing, which is coefficient, let's put it later. Let's dealing with the third stuff, which is the powers. Okay, so the powers is, so we got a x to the power of 3 here. And we also got x to the power of 2. This is also to the power of 2, right? And we also got here the power of 1. Those -6 and +8, these are just numbers. So we deal with them later. Okay, so we get powers. We got 3 and 2 and 1. Those are all powers we get here, right? So we need to do firstly separate them. So for x to the power of 3, we only got one of them, which is x to the power of 3. So we write it down here, and we plus how many x to the power of 2? We get 1 x to the power of 2, and we got 3 x to the power of 2. So add them together, that is 4. Okay, so okay, and do we have how many x to the power of 1 here? We get minus 5 and plus 2. So we get minus 3 x to the power of 1. So we do correctly write it down as x. Okay. Then what about numbers? Minus 6 plus 8, that is 2, right? So we write it down here. Okay. So are there any more stuff left? No, that's all. So we are all set. So this is the standard form. And that means because the question is asking us to write down the standard form. So if we simplify it, that is the standard form. So our finish. Let's move down to the next question. I'm going to use these two questions to show you how to do it. So the first one, we got minus 2x, and we get a multiply something inside the parentheses, right? So what we need to do, of course, we are going to expand it, and we want to put them outside of this parentheses, right? So what we need to do is to this stuff outside of it, we need to multiply it by this one, and we also need to multiply it by this one. So let's write it down. We got minus 2x, right? And we get a multiplier here. And the first one is 3x, right? Okay. And then because we got this kind of minus symbol here, so we write another minus symbol here. Then still minus 2x, right? And we multiply by 7. Okay. Then we can do the simplified process. So for the first part, we got minus 2 multiplied by 3, which is minus 6. And we got x multiplied by x, which is x squared, right? And the next part, we got minus 2x multiplied by 7, that is minus 14x. Okay, then we got 2 minus here, so we want to change it as a plus symbol. So we finally got minus 6x squared plus 14x. That's the answer. Okay, so if we are all good for this product here, we are able to move on to our next one, which is quotient. So for our quotient, we need to pay attention to which part first. Of course, there are two parts here, right? So this is a part above, and this is part below it, right? So we need to treat them separately. So probably we are attracted by this part, by the denominator here below, which is minus 3x. So we are going to like trying to find out, are there any minus 3x above? Oh no, there's nothing there. So what we can do? So firstly, let's take a look at coefficient here. So these numbers are coefficients. So we can write them down here, 15, 24, and 9. And we are trying to figure out, are there any relationship with each other? So what we can do for this step is GCD again. We need to find out the greatest common divisor. So let's say of course, not 1. The next prime number is 2. No, 15 cannot divide it by 2. We cannot get a good number for that. Then what about 3? Okay, what about 3? If 15 divided by 3, that is 5, right? And for 24, what about 3? 3 multiplied by 8, that is 24, right? For 9, of course, we got 3 multiplied by 3. So, hey, we got 3, 3, 3 here. And remember here, this is 3, right? So now what we can do for this step is we got a 3 out of here. So we can write it as we extract a 3 out of 15. What we left is 5. And we write down this way. Okay. We extract 3. So that for 24, we only got 8 left. And this is 3 for this one, for the 9. This is part about, and here is the part below it. Hey, we can cross, oops, sorry. We can cross these 2, 3 here, right? Now, what we left for below is another x. So we can look at those indeterminates about. So we got x here, we got x here, we got x here. Great. That means we can do it this way. We extract x for this time. So we got 5x squared that is left from the 5x to the power of 3. And then for the next one, we got 8x, right? And finally, the last one, there's no x left for this one right now. Okay, so we extract x out of them. And we got minus x below. Now we can cross x. So what we can put here is a minus symbol, right? And we keep it there. And finally, we want to put all of this stuff out of it. So that would be minus 5x squared plus 8x and plus 3. So this would be our answer. So let me write my answers down here. And here. Okay, that is for question number 5. Let's see the chat box. Okay. Don't worry about the answer. I will send them later. And also, after I finish this session, I can score it up to the beginning so that you can see the answers here. Okay. What about moving on to the next question? The rules. So when we are trying to multiply polynomials with another polynomials, what are the rules we need to follow? The most simple rules here, we can see we got one polynomials, which is a plus b here. And we got another polynomials, which is c plus d here. And I see someone is writing on my screen. Okay, thank you. So what you can do for the multiply is a multiplied by c firstly, and then a multiplied by d. So that you got ac plus ad. For the next one, you got b multiplied c and b multiplied d. You got bc and bd. That is how you get this one. And thank you for someone who is writing on my screen. Yes, but firstly, I'm going to show you how should I do this, okay? Could you clear that? Because I'm going to write on this page. Thank you. Let me try if I can clear it. Okay, all right. I'm going to write that here. So we got, for example, we got something here, right? So x plus y together to the power of 2. So let's do the what we did for our first day, which is x plus y multiplied by x plus y, right? And following our rules here, that would be firstly x multiplied by x, which is x squared. The second one, right? This is the first one. The second one is x to the y, right? We got xy. And then the third one, y to the x, right? So yx. The last one, y to the y. So that is y squared. Okay, so we got xy and yx. They're the same thing. So we can make them together, which has, hey, this is the final result. X squared plus 2xy plus y squared. This is very easy, right? Now let's move on to some numbers here. Okay, thank you for someone who's having a chat box. Okay, all right. Let's move on to our next question. So we were going to do this process again. So firstly, here, right? So we got 5x squared. So that is the first one. This is the second one. So please note that this is a minus symbol. So we need to write down a minus here. And we got 5 multiplied by 7, which is 35x. And then we are moving to this one. So we got 1 multiplied by x, which is x. And then we move to this one. We got minus 7. Okay. And then we are trying to figure out the powers. We got this stuff here and this stuff here. We can combine them together. So that would be 5x squared. This would be minus how many? Okay, 34x. And the last one is a number, right? The answer would be 5x squared minus 34x minus 7. Okay, these are some very basic rules. Okay, these are some very basic rules. Okay, please don't talk in the chat box because we are going to move to our MC questions. Okay, so let's read the questions together. Assuming A is not equal to 3, B is not equal to 4, and C is not equal to 5. What is the value in simplest form of the following expression? Aha, this is the very long expression. So what we need to look at this question here, of course, is this part, right? This part. So what we can notice is this is A, right? We are going to figure out the indeterminates. So we got A. So for A, we got 2 of them, right? Which is A minus 3. I can now see my A minus 3 here. Okay, I can see my A minus 3 here. We get another one, which is 3 minus A, right? So same thing for B. We got B minus 4 and 4 minus B, right? And same thing for C. Okay, so of course, actually A minus 3 and 3 minus A, they're different things, but what they can be connected with each other is the absolute value, right? They got the same absolute value. What is the reason for that? Let's look at this line here. This is my line. And I got the 3 here, right? Let's take A as an example. So if I write down A here, that means A is larger than 3. Okay. Then this kind of distance could be expressed as A minus 3, because this one would be bigger than 0. Then what if we write down as 3 minus A? For this situation, this part must be smaller than 0. So if we want to express the distance here, we need to add a absolute value. Why? Because this is a result which is less than 0, right? And for the distance, it should be positive. So we need to add an absolute value. So that means this stuff is equal to this stuff. So same situation happened when A is smaller than 3. So you can see this distance would be 3 minus A, which is here larger than 0. But if we write it down as A minus 3 in this situation here, we still need to add a absolute value, right? So for this situation, we know that these parts are equal to each other. So we can say A minus 3, if we put a absolute value symbol here, this should be equal to 3 minus A with the absolute value symbol. So that means if we put absolute value symbol here, they actually can be crossed, right? But if, because there is no absolute value symbol here. So what we can check here is that on this graph, you will notice that A minus 3 and 3 minus A are actually the same thing. The only difference is one is positive, another one must be negative. So what we can do for here is figure them first. Okay. So if we really going to cross them, what is left is a minus 1. So this is the result. We cross them. So same situation happened for B minus 4 and 4 minus B, and also 3 minus 4, C minus 5 and 5 minus C. So actually we get 3 minus 1, right? So that is the final result, and we multiply them together, we get minus 1. Are there any answer? Of course, A. I already saw a lot of you put in the chat box. Thank you. And that's all for this question. I think a lot of you get this question correctly. So I should move to our next question, which is question number 8. So suppose that X and Y are non-zero real numbers such that this part, which is equal to minus 2. So what is the value for this part? Let's write them down firstly. We got 3x plus y, and we got x minus 3y. We know the relationship between each other because the question told us so, right? I know that if we divide it by each other, we get this minus 2. So the question is, here got more polynomials here, which is this one and this one. So of course, the question is asking us for the relationship between each other. So let's write down this way. Now we know that, okay, they're nothing similar to each other. I mean, of course, they look similar, but they are not the same thing exactly. So let's try to figure out from this relationship here. So what we can do is that we are trying to move what below to this side. So what I'm going to do here would be 3x plus y equal to -2 multiplied by this part. Okay, now we need to deal with the right side because we want to simplify them. So that would be -2x, and we get plus, right? Because we got 2 minus symbol. So we got this stuff. Okie dokie. So now we're going to put the right side to the left side. So let's plus 2x to the left side. So that will be 5x. And then nothing left for the right side. Then we minus 6y to the left side. So we got minus 5y. And we got nothing left for the right side. So that will be this equation. And we know that from here, it would be 5x equal to 5y. We can cross this 5, which means x is equal to y. Wow, that's amazing. Because if x is equal to y, we can use y to refer x in here, right? Okay, so let's do it right now. We use y to refer all of the x. So that would be y.
Excuse me, can you mute the chat because the notifications are popping up and it's really distracting from the class.
Okay.
You guys can stop chat reviews.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for noticing all of our students here. So our classmates, please don't chat here. you can chat it later. Yeah, because we still got some time. And I was like trying to expanding questions. You see some of our classmates are going to listen to me. Thank you all. Okay, let's move back to our using y to refer x. So when we are using y to refer x for this one, we got y plus 3y, right? And for the next one, we got 3y minus y. Now we need to doing this way, right? And then that would be 4y, and this will be 2y. Wow, we can cross them, and we got 2. Hey, that is the answer. We got it here. Woohoo! So we finished 2 of our questions, and I think that's all for today. So today you see that we got 50 questions, but that's fine. They are not so difficult, right? Okay.
Can I take a look at 7 again really quickly?
Yes, for sure. So now let's move back to 7. And before let me firstly stop share and stop recording. Sorry.
Question. Why did you